Hi there. I thought I would give you a list of recommended listening rather than recommended reading, which I do separately. But seeing as Halloween is coming up, I thought I'd give you some spooky things to search out and listen, all of which are free. And, you know, if you're doing a long drive, sitting in bed at night, or put your headphones on, or walking a dog, these are great things to get you in that sort of spooky, dark night mood. Some of these I would have reviewed previously on this channel, some I may not have, but they're all good listens. Right then, number one is Parkdale Haunt. This is currently in its third season, which at the time of making this video will culminate next week. It follows two friends in Claire and Alex in Toronto. One of them inherits a house. It is a spooky house. There are things going on in it. There is a cult, a possession, a repossession. There are all manner of aspects that, and what it is it's the premise of they're making a podcast of renovating the house in the first series, and then they begin to capture strange things happening, and then it rolls on from there. They don't stick with the podcast theme, but it doesn't matter. The third series I think is dragged a little bit. I think it's kind of running out of steam, but the first two series are really good, really easy listens, really fun. I mean, the ladies that make it that also play as two main characters, they are doing a really good job, and they should be ever so proud of this. And considering it's free, you get nice long 40-odd minute episodes as well, so totally worth checking out if you want a nice horror story to listen to that also has a sort of contemporary edge to it. Number two is Uncanny via the BBC Sounds app. When I say uncanny, that also means the Battersea Poltergeist and their latest one, Witch Farm. It is just a story with people recounting their supernatural findings, and they have a skeptic, they have an expert, and the presenter Danny examines the evidence. They have witness interviews, but it's all done in a very classy manner. It's all quite well balanced, and it's got nice spooky atmospheric music and a very good theme tune. With the Battersea Poltergeist series that started it, and the Witch Farm series having actual dramatisations in them as well. But it's really good, creepy listening, because it's all mainly British people talking about things going on in British places, and so it's not big manor houses, it's like just someone's semi-detached house that something weird is happening in, and it makes it all the creepier when it is that kind of setting. And these are all sensible people that are talking as well, so worth checking out if you've got that interested in paranormal, or you just want something that's going to make your skin tingle a little bit. That's Uncanny via the BBC Sounds app. Next one is another BBC Sounds one called A History of Ghosts. This is a 10 episode series where each episode is about 15-20 minutes long, and they just cover discussing different types of ghosts. And I don't mean they go, this is a poltergeist is this. It's more that they use the type of ghost as a springboard and then talk about the mythologies around it. It's told really well in a nice dramatic manner. There's good music to it, and it's the kind of series that I started listening to one episode, and then I just plowed through them all. You know, if you're out on a walk, you just keep walking, because it just one blurs into the next like a dream, and it's just a really high quality, good series that I think a lot of people might overlook. So totally worth checking out, A History of Ghosts. Okay, third one, and this is the final one from BBC Sounds, but BBC seems to have quite a good creepy selection on at the moment. Series I've talked about before called The Shadow over Innsmouth, or the Lovecraft Investigations. 3 series, all, you know, dramatised. Supposedly a podcast series being done by the BBC, but it's obviously a fake podcast, a bit like found footage, but you know, they're using podcasts, it's sound, about a investigative pair of journalists who get mixed up in Lovecraftian stories. This involves going to Innsmouth. This involves the case of Charles Dexter Ward. It also involves a twist on a true happening in a forest in England, and what different cults and agencies are working around them. And the best parts of this series, I find, are the the sort of exposition drops from, and I can't think of a name, I shall put a name up on the screen, but the lady who plays the professor, that everyone will know from Spooks in the UK, and most recently Marriage with Sean Bean, but she just plays a professor who gets these very matter-of-fact knowledge drops and exposition drops, and that really adds to the creep factor. But it's just a fantastic series, really well acted, flows through really, really well, and I just wish there'd be another series of it, really. Okay, final sort of creepy listening is a series I talked about not so long ago called Don't Mind Cruxmont. This is just available via all podcast apps. I think it's a Fool and Scholar production, and it follows a pair of people who for different reasons end up going to a small village in the north of England called Cruxmont. There's a plum festival about to go on, and this village is very self-contained, sort of isolated from the outside world, and there seems to be strange things going on. The villagers don't want them staying there very long, although pleasant they are. The policeman keeps trying to hurry out one character from the area because he's looking for his brother, and he doesn't like the fact that all the clues point to him being there, but everyone denies having seen him. And people seem to be living a lot longer than they should be, with empty graves and people sharing memories. It's got a very sort of Wicker Man-y feel to it, but then to be honest, anything in a small village in Britain is going to be compared to that. But it's really well acted. It's a very well produced show. It's got good, sound and music and all that. And whilst it hasn't quite reached its conclusion yet, I think it's about an episode away from it. I would totally recommend the ride, because they've just dropped, as of a couple of days ago, the explanation as to what is going on. And I won't say anything about it, but I'll say it wasn't what I was guessing. They do a very good job of balancing fantasy and science to create something that sits in between, which I think was a very shrewd move by the people who made it, and just goes to show that they really thought about what they were doing. It may not satisfy everyone, but I was pleasantly surprised, and that's always nice, because you're guessing up until that point. But look, that's the list of 5 recommendations for you. Have a listen, see what you think, and let me know if any of those piqued your interest, and have a nice creepy listening time.